Hello, my fellow restaurant HR and payroll leaders. Welcome to my show where I share valuable content each and every week to help you help your people. Today is all about overtime, and this is one that you definitely do not want to get wrong. And when you do get it right and it's correct, you can protect your restaurants and ensure your employees are treated fairly. The basics of overtime are simple, but the nuances of these regulations aren't always easy to implement. Specifically, there are several overtime pay pitfalls that can catch even the most seasoned HR and payroll professionals off guard. But no worries, I've got some tips for you today on my show, so let's dive in. First and foremost, a quick refresher on the basics. According to the FLSA, non-exempt employees must be paid time and a half their regular pay for any hours worked over 40 hours in a work week. But as you and I both know, it's not always that straightforward. A frequent misconception among restaurant owners and HR and payroll leaders is that salaried employees are automatically exempt from earning overtime. This is simply not true. To determine overtime eligibility, you must examine the employee's job duties and how much they earn. A salaried employee is exempt from overtime when they primarily perform exempt job duties, including those in executive, administrative, or professional capacities, and earn above the minimum salary threshold that is set by the Department of Labor. If one or more of these criteria don't apply to the salaried employee, then the individual should be paid overtime. To prevent this mistake, you should regularly review the job duties of salaried employees. Change in these responsibilities or a shift in how much time they spend on non-exempt tasks could mean they no longer qualify as exempt and they are entitled to overtime pay. Now, it's time to add another layer of complexity. While the FLSA sets the federal overtime standard, many states and localities have regulations that can be more stringent. For example, California requires daily overtime, meaning employees must be paid overtime for any hours worked over 8 hours in a single day, regardless of whether they exceed 40 hours in a work week. Similarly, in Colorado, employees are entitled to overtime for any hours worked over 12 hours in a day or 40 hours in a week. As a restaurant HR and payroll leader, it's your responsibility to be aware of these variations and to ensure your payroll systems are configured correctly to comply with all overtime laws. Another area of confusion is how overtime is handled for tipped employees. The FLSA allows employers to take a tip credit and pay tipped employees a lower base wage as long as their tips bring them up to the federal minimum wage. However, overtime calculations must be based on the full minimum wage, not the lower tipped wage. Failing to do this could result in underpayment and, of course, a lot of legal trouble. Additionally, many restaurant employees wear multiple hats, and these dual job employees might spend part of their shift as a server and part as a cook. If these roles fall into different exemption categories or pay rates, you'll need to carefully track the hours spent in each role to ensure overtime rules are correctly applied. Mismanagement here can lead to significant compliance issues that are best avoided. Let's not forget the importance of record keeping. Accurate records of all hours worked, including when employees start and stop work each day, are essential for paying your team correctly and complying with overtime laws. Inadequate records can lead to disputes. In such cases, the burden of proof typically falls on who? That's right, you. To wrap it up, overtime pay has potential pitfalls, especially with the restaurant industry's varied job roles, tipped employees, and different state and local regulations. The good news is that you can compensate your employees fairly and avoid costly mistakes by regularly auditing your payroll practices and timekeeping systems and training managers to proactively spot and address discrepancies or potential issues. Remember, as an HR leader, compliance isn't just about avoiding penalties. It's about creating a fair, consistent, and amazing culture where your team feels valued and respected.